Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man. My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts. Shout out to everybody out there on Team Banky Pam, man. Much love, man. I appreciate the support. We back in here again, man. 33 years of prison stories, man. Please, if you have not already subscribed, please check your status. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, man. Banky Pam, 33 years of prison stories. Make sure you go subscribe to my other channel as well. Banky Pam, Pure Deliciousness, where we doing a little cooking over there. But it's all positive energy. It's all good vibes. We feeding the positive and starving the negative, man. So I appreciate y'all for subscribing. I appreciate it if you leave a comment. If you like the video, I appreciate it if you leave a like. This helps move the video around in the algorithm where we can get YouTube to share our videos more. That way we bring on more subscribers. We bring on more positive energy. And we get to reach more people, which is our ultimate goal. So, appreciate you. Oh, man, let's get into it. Yeah, Powhatan did a number on me, man. They wanted to trick me up, get me up off of there so bad that they ended up sending me back to Augusta. Yeah, Augusta. I wasn't even supposed to be on Augusta no more from the time I left there. Excuse me. Now, y'all know I left there after I had a couple of incidents on there. You got to realize, I think Augusta opened in 1986. And I got there, I probably got there in the 87 or 88. Somewhere up in that time frame right there. So it was fairly new. So when I got into all the incidents that I got into up there, I ain't gonna say all, the couple of incidents that I got into up there, they were serious incidents, and the institution was not used to that. They had not had any real serious major incidents on there as far as, you know, with that Bethlehem or anything like that, you know, so they wasn't, you know, really equipped to handle it. So they learn as they went along, just like we do when we come into prison. We learn as we go along. So to them, you know, the things that I had end up doing, because I was learning prison and I was just, you know, in all the ways in defensive mode, you know, making sure won't nobody gonna do nothing to me. So as they was, you know, seeing the things that I had did and, you know, back and forth to segregation or whatever, they was looking at me like I was public enemy number one. So, you know, they couldn't wait to get me up off of there when they eventually did. But in all of that going on too, I didn't ever tell y'all about this dude. I don't know if I did it or not. But this officer they had up there who was a captain, Captain Day. And let me tell you something. He was a piece of work. I mean, a piece of work. Number one, he was a racist. You know, a card-carrying racist. You know, I mean, actually had a card that said he was racist, you know. So this is the type of stuff we was dealing with up there. So, you know, I can remember, you know, when I was in the hole and stuff, after I had the situations with the big dude, Raymond and all that, and I remember being in the hole and I was chained down to the bed like an animal, like a real live animal. And I can remember him coming back there and just talking crazy to me, you know, belittling me, calling me the N-word, calling me boy, you know, telling me, you know, I don't know who you think you is. You know, you keep on doing all of this on my institution, like he owned the institution. You keep doing all this stuff on my institution. I don't know who you think you are, but we ain't gonna tolerate it. And this, that, and the third. You know, he was treating me or talking to me like I was his kid or something. And he was calling me all these type of names, which I was in a defenseless position. I couldn't do anything about it. But I can remember, man, he was talking and he was standing over top of me and spittle and stuff was coming out his mouth and I'm telling me, spitting on me. And man, he had the audacity to say, so what? What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? You know, so man, I was so angry. I was just almost in tears, man. And I told him, I said, I can't do nothing about it. I can't do nothing about it because, you know, look where I'm at. You know, but I told him, I said, man, if I get around you again, and he said, oh, you threatening me? You threatening me? So, and I meant it, you know, but I was trying to hold it in, and I was younger then. Like I said, I didn't understand. You don't give threats. If you're going to do something, you do it. And I was more or less forewarning him because I wanted him to know how I felt. But that just alarmed him because in actuality, he was a coward. You know, he was hiding behind his badge. He was hiding behind his position. He was hiding behind his authority. So he was scared. And he had put the word in, you know, with the administration that he didn't want me back on the institution anymore. He didn't feel comfortable with me, you know, being on there or whatnot. So from that point on, I was doomed. You know, I was going to stay in segregation or until they moved me wherever they was going to move me, which eventually ended up being Mecklenburg. And I told you, it was probably him sent all of that foolishness and writing about my character, the type of dude I was, telling Mecklenburg they should watch me and all of this and all of that, right? But anyway, I say all of that to say, you know, it's a good thing I wasn't able to get to him again. But I say all that to say when they put me on the transfer from Powhatan to go back there, that's the first thing that popped in my mind is now this captain is the warden. He is a warden on the institution. So I'm like, you know, this ain't gonna be good for me at all, you know, going up here with him because I know he gonna remember me because like I said, the institution was fresh and my name was like booming on there on Augusta because when they think back to incidents in the inception of the institution, my name is gonna come up because the incidents that I had was when the institution was fairly new. And a lot of those people that was on there was officers and COs there, they're in position. They captains, sergeants, majors, wardens. So, you know, they knew who I was because they made a career out of it and they ended up staying there on the institution for a long time. So, needless to say, I was nervous going back there because I didn't know what to expect. I thought that, you know, I wasn't supposed to be on there no more. I won't going on there no more, but here it is. They sending me back. But that's like I told you, DOC, they're going to do what they want to do to you. You are their property, period. You their property. So they're going to send you wherever they want to send you. And being that Powhatan was trying to get rid of me for whatever reasons they thought, then that's what it was. So, man, I was on that long, long ride up there to them mountains again with all of this stuff going through my head. And when I get on the institution, they take me to property. I just can remember reminiscing about all the things that had happened on this institution, looking at it again, getting familiar with the sites and, you know, and I'm looking to see if I see any officers that I knew. I knew he was the warden on there. I knew one of the dudes that had just made sergeant before I left. He used to play football or something for like North Carolina. A big old dude named Redmond. He was the major, you know, on this institution. His little brother was a sergeant. So it was people on there that I knew. You know, the Just Committee lady, she ended up being like the TPS. That's like right up under the warden. So all of these people is in authority. I know they know me, you know. So it was crazy. So I'm moving around through the property. I'm getting my property. I'm seeing how they operate. Remembering in my mind, is this the same way that it used to be or whatever? And, you know, property was real strict. They had stricken the property up. They started trying to take stuff from you that you have accumulated over the years, which falls up under the grandfather clause, meaning that if you already had it and now they have, you know, said that you can't have these things no more, you're supposed to be able to keep it if you already had it before these rules came into effect. They don't supposed to be able to let you purchase something and then later on tell you that it's contraband, you can't have it. When in actuality, you let me purchase it, you let me get it, and now you're changing the rules when I've already spent my money. So they took that stuff to court years ago and they fell up under a clause they call a grandfather clause, meaning that if you already had it, then you can keep it. but you would not be able to get more of the same type of stuff. So I had to go through that battle. They trying to take personal pictures away from me, saying that you can't have these type of pictures anymore. You know, if you got pictures of your woman or women in general in a bathing suit or whatever, these are pictures that they let come through the mail. And there they talking about it's illegal, you can't have them. So they confiscated a whole lot of pictures of mine, man, hundreds of pictures. And I'm trying to, argue about that, trying not to, rub them the wrong way, because I already know I'm dealing with a delicate situation being on this institution. So I'm telling them, they like, where we taking it, you can grieve it, that's your only option, but we taking it right now. So I'm like, yeah, well, give me the grievance form, because I'm definitely grieving it. So I was going through that, already putting me in even a better mode. So then they come try to give me a cell assignment. When I get my cell assignment, I ended up going down to what they call the ghetto anyway. They assigned me down to C and D building, which was the ghetto when I left, and it's the ghetto when I come back. This where all the drama and all this stuff is at. This is where your Vietnamese Tonys and all of us was down there in this building, when it was just ghettoed out, So they sent me down there. I go upstairs. They put me in the cell with a little young dude, man. They called Dread, man. Salute to Dread, man. Dread was a good little young dude. He was just starting his bit. He had an old rack of time. So he probably still in there right now if nothing haven't changed for him. But he had a rack of time, man. I ended up running into him years later after Augusta. And he was a good dude, man. He had started working out and everything. He had got nice and buff, man. He was, getting himself prepared to what he had to do, which, was a lot of time. So shout out to him, man. I hope he's doing well. But, like I say, he was all right, man. I got in a little routine with him, later on, started working out with him, trying to impart a little wisdom and stuff on him about how to do time, because he was new. And by now, I've been down probably, this is like around 2002, I believe. I think like 2001, 2002, more or less around that time. And so I've been down there probably, almost half of my bit, probably 15 years or better, So, yeah, so I try to, I could see that he won't gonna be no difficult cell partner, because like I say, he was young, he was a little wild, he was a wild out little dude, but at the same time, he listened and he respected cell. And that's all you can ask for somebody to respect that cell, that space that you in. As long as you got somebody that's respecting that space that you in with you, then you can more or less deal with it. What he do outside that cell, that's on him. As long as that drama don't come to that cell, then I'm good, And like I say, I got along with him, but man, it won't 48 hours. It won't 48 hours, I believe, that I was on this institution, and they called me over to the administration office, and I'm like, for what? I ain't even got all the rest of my property yet, and y'all calling me to the administration office. So I go over there to see what's going on. They give me a pass, tell me I go over there. I go over there to see what's going on. It's the major. He want to see me, right? He called me in there, and it's the dude I know. I remember him, like I say, from when I was there years ago. And he the major now, so he in power. Like I told y'all, major run the institution, more or less. He called me in there, man. He actually get up, shake my hand and everything. Ask me what's up, man. Long time no see, all this and all that. They got your record right there in front of them, so I know they've been looking up me and seeing what was going on with me since I left them. So everything that I had been into or everything that I hadn't been into, they knew, they was privy of that. So he's sitting there behind his computer. He was like, man, I was telling my brother them and telling a couple of officers, man, who you was, man. They know who you are on here, man. I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, man, you was a wild one back then, man. You was wild, boy. But we had to stay alert with you. I said, man, it was, I was young. I was learning prison. I was just trying to get by, man. That's all, trying to survive. He was like, yeah, but he said, yeah, you known on here, man. He said, my officers, they know who you are. I've told them who you are, especially where you at. He said, I know exactly where you at because I placed you there. He said, we gonna try to move you as soon as possible. I know you down there in the ghetto. He said, but we gonna try to move you as soon as possible. Try to put you down here in the honor block just for a minute, because he said, as you know, you're not gonna be on here long, so don't get comfortable. He said, I know you going through some issues with your property. They already told me already. I'm going to try to get your property within the next 24 hours. He said, just be calm. Don't go over there. Don't get into nothing. They already watching you. You know who the warden is. So I'm just letting you know, I'm pulling your coat and let you know, don't get into nothing, man. We're going to get you up off here as soon as possible. I said, I ain't got no problem with that. I ain't looking for no trouble. I ain't trying to get into nothing. I don't intend on getting into nothing. I say, all the thing I want is my property. And if I don't supposed to be here, I don't want to be here. He said, well, I can guarantee you ain't going to be here long. You know what I'm saying? He said, all the thing I'm asking you is, they got a lot of little young folks in there, a lot of little crazy dudes. Don't go back there and get yourself in no trouble or get yourself in no situation. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say, they watching you. They've been told to watch you. They know who you are. My officers know who you are. If you got a problem, tell them you want to see me and just get over here and I'll help you get everything straight. Yeah, he said he'll help me get everything straight. So I respected that, you know, because he won't coming at me on no foolishness. He won't coming at me on no bully stuff, you know, or nothing like that, which I remember back in the day, he was on that type of stuff because he was trying to make his way up in the ranks. And like I told you, DOC, they promote that. If you gonna, you know, crack some heads and, you know, do the stuff they do when you got your handcuffs on and all, they gonna promote that because they know you buying into the system. They know you down for them, you down for DOC, and you gonna do whatever. You know, so, you know, it paid off for him. He's a major, you know. So, but like I said, I respected the fact of the way he came at me, which, like I said, I had no intentions on getting into nothing anyway, but you're on a new institution, you never know what's going on. And with that being said, I found out real fast, like I say, Augusta is different now, man. It done changed. It done changed, man. They got a whole new regime going on up there. They running things different. You know, they ain't green no more. They know. They done took control of the institution, whereas when I was on there the first time, it was 50-50. You know, it's push-pull. You know, the convicts was doing what they wanted to do when they was trying to get control. Now they got control and the convicts trying to do whatever they can do to get away with it. It's just had changed. It was different, man. They had came up with the little tag team, the little mob, and man, they was pulling night raids. They come kick your door in at 3, 4 in the morning and shake you down. Man, they was doing all types of foolishness, man. They was shaking dudes down, grabbing them as soon as they come out of the visiting room, grabbing dudes, shaking them down. They run up in the block at any time. You might be out in Park Rec. They'll run through the block at any time, tell everybody, don't move. Everybody stay right where you at. Nobody moves. And they would go right to everybody where they was and strip search everybody because they were thinking that dudes might be sitting in the block, which most of the time they was, sitting in the block with that Bethlehem on them, you know, sitting in the block with drugs on them, you know, so they would pull these pop-up raids. So then you had dudes that was, you know, was prepared for that, but at the same time, like I say, you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Dudes still was gonna protect themselves no matter what the risk was. You know, like I say, dudes want to get caught with the Bethlehem, then get caught without it. You know, because if you get caught without it, then you need it, then you out back. So dudes was now trying to hide their Bethlehem in the block somewhere where they can get to it and all of that. So when they did pull them type of raids and they ran in there, they would check the showers, check up under the ice machine, check over in the little maintenance closet. They would do all that and they would find Bethlehem after Bethlehem after Bethlehem. They find wine sitting in the shower, hanging up in the shower, because when they pull them type of raids too, then they might pop every door and just walk through your cell, walk through every cell, look, pull the little lockers out, look around and stuff. They looking for wine, anything that's in open sight. Something big like wine, when you make that wine, it's got to be a big old bucket or something like that. So they look for that type of stuff when they pull these old pop-up raids. So this was totally different from when I was on there. So like I say, they more or less had grabbed some type of control of the institution with all this foolishness. But at the same time, you had a bunch of young dudes on here, a bunch of young dudes now, you know, the law done changed. So now you got these dudes that got this new time under the new law. When I came in, we was under the old law. So mostly everybody who was around me was under the old law. So now you got these dudes under the new law Well, these dudes got 50 years, 45 years, 30 years, 70, 80, 100, 200 years, and they got 85% of that to do. How you gonna do 85% of 100 years? You see what I'm saying? So these dudes had a different mentality. These dudes was new in the system. They green. They learning how to do time, and they got all this time on their back, on his chest, 50 years and stuff. So they trying to make a name for themselves. They trying to send a message that they ain't to be played with. They trying to send a message that, if you mess with me, this is what's gonna happen. So this is a dangerous environment. By any means, this is a dangerous environment because of the dudes you're dealing with. And some of these dudes, they coming in and not knowing how to do time at all. And a lot of them is getting misinformed or what they heard or what they seen on TV. Oh, I gotta chop them down if you get in, all of that because you got 50 years, 60, 87 years. Okay, you can do that, but you is gonna send a message to the rest of the institution and the rest of the system. But at the same time, that system gonna send a message to you. They gonna punish you, man. You going in segregation for years, which you may not be cut out for, because it's gonna mess with your mental. You might go to court, and if you do go to court, you probably looking at it like, well, I got all this time. What they gonna do to me? Okay, that time gonna stop, and you gonna start doing the time that they give you. So you didn't even push yourself further. But if you got a sentence that you can complete anyway, it's not humanly possible to do 85% of 100 years. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the life expectancy anyway. But you may rationalize like that, but you still have to be going back and forth to court, dealing with these type of people. And like I say, the worst case scenario, you get to playing around with them Bethlehems and you do something to somebody trying to send a message and you mess around and take a life. If you take a life and then now your life is on the line as well. You see what I'm saying? It's so many different scenarios that you have to factor in that most dudes don't factor in when they first come into prison because they're not getting the information. They're not getting the proper information. Dudes is not telling them right. Old timers ain't got time to be sitting there in their schooling dudes. In their mind, that's how they feel because they still worried about their own time. They still worried about, making it through the bit that they got to make it through. So they ain't gonna try to sit there and hold your hand. Now, if you in the cell with somebody that's older and that did time, he might take it upon himself to drop some knowledge on you. But they not gonna go out of their way to try to tell these dudes, especially these dudes that was coming in there, they was knuckleheads. They won't try to hurt nothing anyway. They won't try to hurt nothing anyway. If it won't their way, they won't try to hurt. And like I say, most of them was misinformed because they going by what they heard about prison or what somebody told them. So these dudes was walking around here, man, toting them Bethlehems and they ready to go at the drop of a dime. Like I say, I'm there. I'm getting acclimated. I'm working out with Lil Dre. He going over there. They got the little dice game jumping off over there in the corner. The dudes is still doing the same thing. They making their wine. Dudes is they get the drugs. They selling the drugs. Everybody or most of all them dudes want to get high. That's their relief. That takes them away from what they actually got to deal with, that reality. So they go out of their way to try to do that. So like I say, man, I was just sitting there doing the math to it and looking how much it done changed. Just, in the period of time that I was there to right now. The entire institution done changed. The entire institution. But that's how it be. You leave a place and you be gone for a certain amount of time. You come back, it's not the same institution. It's not the same institution at all. And especially when you on a new institution and you come back a decade later, 10 years. If you come back 5 years later, the whole institution has changed now because now they got an idea and a blueprint about how to run the institution. So, the yard was basically the same. It still was a big yard. They still, at that time, if I remember correctly, they still had the free weights out there. So dudes was out there getting huge, because a lot of dudes, they just focus on that, trying to get their weight up, trying to get their strength up for anything that might come their way. They feel like they'll be prepared to deal with it. So you had a lot of dudes out there that hit that weight pile, a lot of dudes hit that basketball court. I think, man, within the first week or two I was there, man, I seen like 2 or 3 fights. Them young boys was in there and they was doing them little cell fights too. They'll take you, look, they get to argue. I go to cell, let's go to cell. They go in the cell, they rumble, they get it in, and, you know, dudes come out, somebody gonna come out bust up. Sometimes both of them come out bust up, you know, and then they was letting it be. This was new, you know what I'm saying? This was new to me because, like I say, you go in the cell today with somebody and you get to rumbling with them and you heard them or you bust them up or whatever, and you come out and you let that person walk around, you know, knowing what you just did to them, knowing what the institution or that block know what you did to them, man, you do that at your own risk, bro. You do that at your own risk because you turn your back and ain't no telling what might happen to you. And then little dudes get in his ear, put the battery in his back. Man, you can't let nobody do that to you. Man, you in prison there, bro. You got 40 years. You know, dudes gonna think, you know, man, well, I run, but though I ain't run. I won't. Man, you can't let nobody be walking around you, man. You walk around, man, with your eye black, man, your lip bust. And that'll, you know, play on the dude's ego, where he might go get that Bethlehem and come try to do something to you, and you think it's over. Y'all think it's squashed, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? So the rule of thumb is, man, if it get physical, somebody got to go. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to go. But like I say, I was seeing a new era being ushered in. A new era of the prison was being ushered in. And this way up here in these mountains. So they ain't even on flatland. So that's a totally different thing. Because they do things different up here because you got a different type of atmosphere up here. You got most of these people, they were still racist up there. You know what I'm saying? The dude Redmond was he was a black guy. You know, he was a light-skinned black guy, but he was a black guy. You know what I'm saying? And he was the major. But at the same time, they were still racist. Now, they had I think, man, they had made this female, I think she was a captain at the time. But she was the leader of the tax squad, which was crazy because you rarely ever see that. And the crazy part about it is her name was Santiago. And the crazy part about it was when I was there years earlier, her sister worked there. And I ain't even gonna front, I ain't even gonna lie. These were some beautiful women. They was mixed with something, you know, Caribbean and Puerto Rican and black and something. They had a whole little, you know what I'm saying, melting pot thing going on where they was mixed with something, but they was some beautiful women. So back when I was on here back then, I had a homeboy on there named Snyder, right? I don't know if I said something about this in other videos or whatnot, but I just touch on it slightly. But back then, Snyder was locked up for something he didn't do. He eventually got exonerated after he did like 15, 16, 17 years. And he eventually got exonerated, but it kind of like messed his life up because he was a boxer. When he was on the street, he was trying to do something with his life. He ended up getting accused of something he didn't do, all the way until the DNA stuff came out that he was exonerated, you know what I'm saying? But in the process of him doing that time, he had started up a romance with the CO named Santiago, which just happened to be the most prettiest woman on the compound. And he had started up a relationship with her. They had their little thing going on. It was secretive for a minute, and then it was known all over the compound, and it started to spread. When stuff like that happened, it's going to eventually get to the administration. By the time it got to the administration, they were so, you know, full-blown in love that she didn't even really care. So they tried to ambush her one day to come get her because she worked this block, which was, you know, gravy for her because she get to see him every day. They tried to ambush her because she supposedly been sneaking in the cell, being with him or whatever. So they tried to ambush her one day, and, you know, she had a friend, and, you know, you got a friend in the booth, they can open and close the door. So she was supposed to have been in the cell. Somebody told it. They come bum rushing over there to, you know, run down on her. She walks straight out the cell when they come in there like, oh, we got to, come on, let's go. She be like, don't even worry about it, I quit. You know, so she quit. She ended up leaving that day. Snyder ended up getting locked up under investigation. They ended up moving him to another institution. She quit. She ended up going to see him at another institution and ended up marrying him. She ended up getting married to him. So that was a big scandal back then in the day on Augusta because that had never happened. You know what I'm saying? Since the institution was new. And not only did he, what they call pull a CO, but he pulled the baddest COO on there, female wise. She was the baddest COO on there. He ended up pulling her. Now her sister is the captain when I'm back up here now. So all of that be whispered about, and she was just as pretty, you know, but she was just as nasty as everybody up there. I guess she took upon that attitude because of what people knew about her sister. So she wanted to portray that this ain't gonna never be me. Don't never one of y'all even think about that I want you. So she just was nasty, I mean, for no reason, man. And she was the one who facilitated all of that, running down on dudes, strip searching them. She talked to you real nasty, real aggressive. And it was crazy, man. You know, and I'm just sitting here inventorying all of this because I know the history because I was here. You know, I was here. And I can remember she came when the first time they ran down on the block that I was in. They ran down on the block and she come running in there and I could see her just pointing and hollering and telling everybody, nobody move, nobody, stay right there. No, you, no, don't move. I'm watch him. Keep your eye on him. Everybody, step out of your shoes, pull your socks off, don't move from the position you in. Everybody's getting ready to get strip searched.
The bacon special.
Yeah.
Pure delicious.
Pure deliciousness, man.
My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know. And I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.